Hey, what is going on, folks? Rock D Lee. What are we here for? We're here for something new that is not normally on this channel. We're jumping into the film theory, the complete Avatar timeline explained by the film theorists. What I'm doing on this channel is I am always in the mindset of trying something new. I do not want to stay in a box. I do not want to stay in a particular bubble. I have the main channel. You guys know the Korean channel. And this, even though there's a lot of gacha gaming, right? I still want to cover other stuff. But to be real, on the gacha gaming side, between the ZZ fans, the Genshin fans, the Honkai Star Rail fans, the Honkai Third Impact fans, the Wuthering Waves fans, they mad loyal. So it's one of those things where I was like, oh, this is cool. Let me just react to this real quick. And the folks came through in armies, say, oh, react to this, and actually showing up. So I actually stayed in that rabbit hole for quite some time, and I'm still in the rabbit hole because, as you guys know, I play Wuthering Waves, and that's that. I fully watched the Avatar animated series. I fully watched the Korra series. Will my memory be rusty? Absolutely. Could you guys guess my favorite character in the Avatar franchise? I'm gonna give you a moment to think about it. Let me know when you're ready. Let me know. It's actually hard. It's a trio of characters, okay? My favorite characters in the Avatar franchise. It's not really a trio. It's actually more of a duo. It's Zuko and his sister. So it's mostly going to be Zuko. I think I can just say Zuko, and I really like Uncle Iroh. You know how I knew I should have just stuck with Zuko? Because I was going to say the Fire Lord, but I think you should know the Fire Lord by his name. My gut wants to say Fire Lord Ozan. That's what my gut wants to say. But I'm not confident enough. And Zuko's sister couldn't say her name, right? I want to say it's Azula. Let's check something real quick. Avatar Azula. Oh, I got it. I'm proud of myself. Okay, so I did know it was Azula. And then I'm going to do Avatar. I'm going to do Ozan. So I know, because I know there's Ozan's comet. Ozai is the ruler of the fire. Is Ozai. There's no Ozan. Ozai. So anyways, that's where we are. It's funny, man. Most of my people are all Fire Nation people. Fire Lord Ozai, Zuko, Azula, Uncle Iroh. Really love those people. And then on Aang's side, it would much be Aang, because that's my favorite of the avatars for the most part. Toph is extremely dope. And then we have a lot of supporting characters. Of course, I like Katara, and that's just that. So, I'm not going to hold you guys up. We are going to jump right into it. If you guys like this, you like seeing me cover things I don't normally cover, please subscribe. That is the biggest indicator to let me know I did well. I don't know if I could continue going down the Avatar rabbit hole other than the fact that I've already watched this series, so there's no point in reacting to it. And there's always new stuff that they're talking about. I hear that they're having a new Avatar in production. Not in production, in talks. Another one in the future, right? Which is interesting because I assume that you know your Avatar history. The Avatar cycle is completely gone because of our favorite Avatar, Korra. And the Avatar cycle is reset. Like, we don't get to interact with Avatar Aang anymore. Before we actually go into this video, that hurts my soul, guys. I'm literally, when I think about the fact that a present Avatar can no longer communicate with the previous Avatars, it hurts my soul. And I'm not going to blame Korra. That's not how we're going to start off the video. If we're going to talk about that, we could have a toxic video reacting to that that fiasco that happened with Korra. I don't really blame her, but I'm still mad. The emotions pervade. The reason why it bothers me so much is because when an Avatar dies, I don't really feel like they are truly dead. Like, they're gone. But because of the Avatar cycle, I feel like they're always with us. But when you lose those, I feel like they're actually dead. You've experienced true death in the truest sense, and it hurts me. Anyways, that is a 5-minute intro that's completely not necessary on an hour-long video. but at least it gets you to know what my information is with Avatar. It's not just me jumping to this video and I know nothing about it. I'm a fan of it. Am I a diehard fan that, oh my god, I have every collectible? No. I am a fan as it relates to grass touchers. If I talk to anyone in real life and I talk about Avatar, I would generally know more than people. In fact, today, I just got made fun of by people in real life because of my hobby and stuff like that. And I'm glad. I'm reminded that I am one of y'all, whether or not you want to accept it or not. Anyways, all right, let's jump into the video.
Sponsored by WB Games. Did you know that there was an evil avatar that hated humans? That there was a Fire Nation avatar? Sponsored by WB Games. Did you know that there was an evil avatar that hated humans? Or that there was a Fire Nation avatar that worked for the government? Or that Julie did the thing and became president? This is
Julie did the thing and became president? Oh, okay. That's cool.
Timeline for the Avatar franchise.
Julie did the thing.
Shows, to the books, to the comics and games, and...
Sometimes when I'm doing these reactions and Adorkable is there, I'm like, Adorkable, do the thing. That's funny. No one ever acknowledges that joke.
All of this information together will let us predict the plot of the new show, Avatar 7 Havens, coming in the next few years.
That's what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. I think.
Hello, internets! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that's been reincarnated as the next Avatar. Yep, so this series doesn't need much of an introduction. In the world of Avatar, people can bend one of the 4 classic elements: water, earth, fire, and air. While one person born every generation called the Avatar can bend all 4 elements, hoping to keep the balance between everyone else in the world. This franchise is one of the deepest universes introduced in the last couple of decades, and honestly, it's a big favorite of mine. I literally remember when it premiered on Nick. I am an OG and watched it day 1. But there is like a lot of it, right? Like, did you know that there were novels about avatars we don't really see much of in the show? Or
that's kind of news to me. But I'm not shocked. It's one of those things where I should have known that. Because as I started the video, I told you that I knew that there was a new Avatar in the making and it was based on books. But when I was reading that post, I wasn't like, oh wow, there's a whole bunch of books. You know, I just didn't marinate on that thought. So that's crazy.
A lot of it, right? Like, did you know that there were novels about avatars we don't really see much of in the show? Or comics that expanded the story from the TV series? Or a tabletop RPG that gave us crucial insight into avatars and eras that we basically knew nothing about before? While I was rewatching the shows recently with a friend, I realized that they didn't actually know about all that stuff. He also didn't think that there was a great place to really learn about all of it, and I took that personally. So I wanted to do something different today and bring all of that information into one place. One big collection, one big timeline. But before we do that, as you've probably noticed by now, this video is really long. Much longer than we can normally make, and we were only able to take a big swing like this thanks to the sponsor of today's theory, DC Worlds Collide. If you don't know, DC Worlds Collide is a brand new squad-based RPG fighting game for mobile, where you can make a squad of your favorite DC characters, each with great synergies and strategies. The crime syndicate is invading Earth, and you need to put together a team to take them down. And they don't just have big guns like Batman, Wonder Woman, and The Flash. You can pick from up to 70 DC characters, including deep cuts like Zatanna and Constantine. And if you're a fan of Superman, well, in celebration of the new movie, Superman is the first new character to join the roster, all inspired by his latest appearance. The Big Blue Boy Scout is in the game right now, with characters you see in the movie like Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, and even Crypto coming later this summer. I've been a fan of DC since I was just a wee lad, so a game like this is just perfect for me.
I'm also a DC
or
fan.
During writing breaks,
comment if you guys are a DC or Marvel fan. I
want
to see which
and Shazam ready, and just play a couple rounds of this fast-paced RPG. There are tons of
Batman, I'm technically a DC
mini
fan.
games, events,
but if they draft Batman,
PvP
I'm changing.
matches. And it even has idle elements that let you earn rewards and make progress when you're busy doing other things. So if you want to help the heroes of DC save the Earth, click the link below or scan the QR code on screen to squad up and download DC Worlds Collide on iOS and Android right now. Again, we're only able to take big swings on videos like this thanks to partners like WB Games. So again, thank you for sponsoring this theory. But for now,
that's a lot of work
to the Avatar timeline. So yeah, today we're going through every important piece of Avatar storytelling ever released and put together a timeline that will give you everything you could possibly need to know about this world. And believe me, there is a lot. For real, on top of the comic book continuations of both Avatar Aang and Korra's adventures, there's an entire book series.
Yo, Korra had more? You know what really caught my attention? Because I knew who she chose over the homies, man. I knew who she chose over the homies. So I see these two running in the back. I'm actually very intrigued on that. I'm actually more intrigued on Avatar Korra and her interests, so to speak, and more than Avatar Aang and them. Even though Aang is my favorite, or I prefer him, it's just like this is kind of juicy because we was chilling, we was watching Korra, and I don't know if you guys watching the same Korra I was watching, but it wasn't until like the last 10 minutes you're like, wait a minute. And the last minute she's like, come with me, and I was like, what? Where did this come from? Right? So anyways.
Of both Avatar Aang and Korra's adventures, there's an entire book series covering the stories of the avatars that came before them. There's also tons of old websites and webtoons and trivia snippets and video games and tabletop RPG resource books that also add to the world and give some pretty crucial information that isn't actually mentioned in the shows. It's wild. And it's here where I have to give a massive shout out to the awesome Avatar fan community and a lot of the work that they put in over on places like the Fandom Wiki or the various Tumblr archives of old Nick websites that are now gone. Though I've watched, read, and played pretty much everything related to Avatar, this just would not have been possible without those awesome resources. You guys are incredible. All right, so ground rules before we go in. Like, how are we actually going to count time here? There are a couple of ways we could. Like, for example, we could count everything per avatar. In that system, history would be tracked, started at 0 with the birth of each new avatar. So, for example, the Kyoshi era ended year 230, starting year 0 of the Roku era. That lasted until year 70, when Roku died, starting year 0 of the Aang era, etc., etc. However, this can get really confusing to track, so instead, like most of the fandom, we're gonna pick a year 0 and then count forwards and backwards from there. That makes sense. Similar to BC and AD here in the real world. In Avatar, that point is when Fire Lord Sozin killed most of the air nomads, so we're gonna be categorizing dates as either before the air nomad genocide, BG, and after genocide, AG. Yes, that is the actual canonical name for the event and the dates used. Please don't get mad at me, YouTube. I swear I won't say the G word again. Anyway, regardless, hey, at least that makes sense as like the choice for our central date.
I had to think about what does G mean. Okay.
Oh,
yeah, you
also,
can't say that full word. I mean,
so you
get demonetized.
Any of the source material we're actually talking about, we're going to be putting where we are sourcing our information.
Oh, this man is thorough.
That are going to be coming up as lower thirds in the video. Honestly, that system is going to be like a little bit of an experiment for us. We've done it before in like the FNAF timeline, but I mean, everything in this video is kind of an experiment. So please let me know in the comments what you think about that. And honestly, just the timeline in general. I really want to hear your feedback for this. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's dive into the world of
editing
Avatar.
style is interesting.
Thousands of years ago, before the year 19,829 BG, several spirits manifest into the physical world.
That's an old planet, jeez. Old planet.
After Vatu, the spirit of darkness and chaos, several spirits manifest into the physical world after Vatu, the spirit of darkness and chaos, breaks down the barrier between the physical and spiritual worlds, allowing creatures to freely pass between either realm. This includes Tui and La, the spirits of moon and ocean who manifest as koi fish. A spirit known as the Mother of Faces also gives birth to another spirit, Ko the Face Stealer.
That one I know.
Time. Rava, the spirit of light and peace, emerges and duels Vatu.
That's the Avatar, I think.
The two are locked in a stalemate. Around the year 19,829 BG, an event known as harmonic convergence begins. The planets align and spiritual energy is amplified as spirit portals in both the north and south poles merge. This event only happens once every 10,000 years. During harmonic convergence, Vatu and Rava battle to determine whether the world will live in peace or fall into chaos until the next event. Rava wins this fight, restraining Vatu for the next 10,000 years.
Jeez.
Over the next 10,000 years, human civilization arises as they form a symbiotic relationship with the great lion turtles. Cities are built upon the shells of the lion turtles who protect the humans from dangerous spirits roaming freely throughout the world.
Nice.
Though the cities were originally all connected, eventually they lost contact with and knowledge of one another. Over this period, each city developed their own unique cultures. Additionally, elemental bending first emerges during this time. When humans leave the safety of their lion turtle cities, the lion turtles give them the ability to control one of the elements water, earth, fire, or air in order to protect themselves. When the humans return...
See, I remember they would have lore where like, you know, like these moles would teach people earthbending, and that's where we learned earthbending. Or like the dragons had taught firebending, that's where we learned firebending. you know, or the sky bison taught the airbending. So, okay.
To the cities, their bending is taken away by the lion turtles.
They
protect themselves. When the humans return to the cities, their bending is taken away by the lion turtles. In the year 9850 BG, a man named Wan is born in a lion turtle city where firebending is.
They got it from the lion turtle, came back, then lost it again. That explains things.
850 BG, a man named Wan is born in a lion turtle city where firebending is gifted to its humans. 18 years later, in 9832 BG, Wan is living in poverty. Along with some friends, he steals from the wealthy in the city. Many members of the ruling Chow family bully Wan and his friends, and Wan wishes to gain power to improve their conditions. Wan joins a hunting party and is given firebending by the lion turtle, but is able to trick his way back into the city without giving the bending back. This is against the city's laws, and Wan uses it to incite a rebellion against the Chows. However, Wan's identity is revealed during the battle, and he is banished from the city by the lion turtle, though the lion turtle does agree to let Wan keep his firebending to protect himself out in the wild. Though originally scared, Wan befriends several spirits out in the wilds. He saves a cat he names Mula from hunters, and Mula becomes his loyal animal companion and guide. Wan saves several spirits from hunters from his home city, and the spirits eventually come to accept him, helping him master his firebending. Specifically, Wan learns advanced firebending techniques from a white dragon. This would
okay, see what I was talking about? Okay. I'm gonna shut up, but like things are like making sense.
Become known as the dancing dragon form. A couple
of
years
saw Aang and Zuko do it.
Later, in the year 9830 BG, Wan discovers Rava and Vatu locked in a struggle. Vatu tricks Wan and begs for his help, and Wan frees Vatu, releasing darkness and chaos out into the world. Vatu quickly corrupts many normally peaceful spirits who become dangerous and violent. Rava explains who she is, and Wan understands his mistake, offering to help defeat Vatu. Though he is briefly turned away, Rava realizes that she is growing weaker and agrees. After helping a group of airbenders protect their city from spirits corrupted by Vatu, Wan requests to be granted airbending from the lion turtle. No human had ever had more than one bending ability before, so Rava holds onto the power for Wan until he masters it, passing through his body and combining their energies to grant him the bending power. Over the course of the next year, the two work together, and Wan also receives the powers of water and earth bending. He masters all four elements.
You're gonna see a lot of ICs. Some things may have already been explained in Korra. I don't remember it all, so sometimes like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? So there's that. When I watch Korra, when I watch a lot of TV, I watch it passively, so there's a lot of things I don't absorb.
Also receives the powers of water.
I don't need to watch this video.
He masters all four elements as harmonic convergence grows near. In the year 9829 BG, harmonic convergence occurs, with Wan and Rava battling Vatu. Wan and Rava's spirits merge, creating the Avatar spirit, and making Wan the very first Avatar, master of all four elements. With their combined abilities, they trap Vatu in a prison known as the Tree of Time, and to maintain peace, Wan separates the human and spirit worlds once again, sealing the portals at the north and south poles. The lion turtles decide that their role as protectors of humanity has come to an end,
because of this
Avatar to have taken up that mantle. They no longer grant humans the ability to bend and disappear. The different peoples and cultures of the now gone lion turtle cities meet, and many begin to clash due to their cultural differences. Sadly, war is frequently waged between the groups, and though Wan intervenes to keep the peace, he is rarely successful. A much older Wan eventually dies on a battlefield trying to stop one such war. He apologizes to Rava, saddened that even with Vatu sealed, darkness has continued to spread across the world. Rava comforts Wan as he dies, and Wan and Rava's combined spirit is reborn into a new body, and thus the Avatar cycle officially begins. A great deal happened over the next 6,000 years between 9829 and 3829 BG. Despite the new barrier,
I guess I may be able to take refuge, because if the Avatar cycle is dead, and I have to remember that spirits kind of live on, these avatars are just out somewhere in the spirit realm, you know?
Between the human and spirit worlds, some spirits are able to interact with the human world, including Wan Shi Tong, a spirit who collects knowledge. He transports his spirit library into the human world, where it finds a home in the middle of what would become the Siwang Desert on the planet's main continent. Other spirits include Lady Tianhe, guardian of the seashore, and her protector, General Old Iron. Several humans settled in the area protected by Tianhe, who was fascinated by the humans and decided to protect them. They started a village known as Tianheshi in her or honor. Though the lion turtles were no longer around to grant bending, the ability reemerges throughout the continents as humans studied and learned from the natural world. Several nomadic peoples discover the art of airbending from the flying bison, and the Sun Warriors rediscover firebending from the dragons. Several people across the world are able to learn waterbending by observing the push and pull of the moon on the ocean.
Yeah.
Intentionally, they had learned this power from the spirits Tui and La. Finally, others on the main continent did the same with earthbending and the badger moles. The first known earthbenders trained in this way were the lovers Oma and Shu from
I feel so redeemed. I was like, that's not how I remembered it. Whatever. But everything has been restored. Great.
warring towns. The first known earthbenders trained in this way were the lovers Oma and Shu from 2 warring towns. Slowly, true civilization begins to emerge. Several of the nomads who learned airbending from the flying bison formed temples across the world. One early airbending master named Guru Lahima is able to let go of his earthly tethers and unlocks the rare ability of unassisted flight. It is said that he did not touch the ground for the last 40 years of his life. Additionally, at least one civilization rose and fell over the course of these thousands of years in the South Pole, leaving nothing but their temples behind. On the largest continent, several like-minded people began to gather and found new settlements that slowly grow into cities. One of these would become the largest such settlement in the world, the walled city of Ba Sing Se.
There is no war.
The earthbender Shu is killed during a battle of the warring villages, and in her grief, Oma uses her earthbending to end the conflict. Under her leadership, the 2 towns come together and form a new city in honor of her fallen love. This city would later be known as Omashu. Additionally, powerful earthbenders become sages for this new earthbending culture, gaining status as political officials. A pair of powerful earthbenders and conjoined twins, one named Hundun, rise to influence. The 2 crown themselves kings and are able to harness the power of chaos to attack others. I'm
always interested in societies where your strongest rule, because your strongest don't fight anymore sometimes. It depends. Like if you're a powerful earthbender, but you don't go fight, right? How does that work, you know? So I guess you're a powerful earthbender, you're high in politics. When there's conflicts happen, do you go out and fight? Does that also mean you have the corrupted politics where, for example, you are the strongest warrior, or you're the strongest, you become a sage, and society values you, therefore you have more power, and then conflicts happen, so you're supposed to go meet those conflicts, so you then negotiate that, hey, I won't go and fight you, but I'll sell out parts of my country and let you tax the heck out of our population, you know? I'm always interested in how those societies function when your most powerful individuals are so high in status that if they're corrupt, they won't go into battle, which is why it's important sometimes to shame them into feeling like they should have to fight and or use religious ideologies to kind of control each other. But
identified incarnation of the Avatar defeats the twins, greatly injuring one, and banishes them to the spirit world, where their sole purpose becomes extracting revenge on the Avatar. A series of other wars breaks out across the largest continent, and among the belligerents is the kingdom of Ba Sing Se. Eventually, they defeat every other kingdom and absorb them into their government, forming the vast Earth Kingdom that spreads across the entire continent. The king of Ba Sing Se is crowned the Earth King, while all other kings of the now vassal states become lords of the new nation. Waterbenders in the north form a unified tribe and build a large city, Agna Kala. However, as civil unrest begins amongst the various tribes in this coalition, one faction splits off and heads to the South Pole. This new southern water tribe builds their own civilization and eventually heals relations with their cousins in the northern water tribe. Like the Earth Sages, a group of waterbenders known as the Water Sages become integral to their society, though they retain spiritual importance rather than becoming political figures. Additionally, over the millennia, at least one group of southern water tribesmen wander through the Earth Kingdom and discover a vast wetland known as the Foggy Swamp.
That's cool.
They settle down here,
those guys.
Foggy Swamp tribe, their origins are eventually lost to them. Meanwhile, the Sun Warriors flourish.
I remember those guys.
They call home, led by a single chief. The majority of the rest of the inhabitants of these islands are influenced by Sun Warrior culture, though many of their chieftains devolve into warlords claiming territory across the archipelago. Others form organizations of wise fire sages, traveling out into the rest of the world to learn from it. The various warlords eventually come into conflict, though one named Taz is far more brutal than the others and rises to power across the entire archipelago. One village stood up to Taz, and the warlord had their children abducted in retaliation. It's unknown what became of them, but they were never seen again.
Yo, this
the mothers
guy.
Of these children died. It's unknown what became of them, but they were never seen again.
All right. That caught my attention because I don't have a problem with talking about somebody. Sometimes people say, hey, don't talk about it. Someone's going to steal your idea. Man, everyone's stealing people's ideas, man. You could take this idea or not. It might be a spoiler, but I might not even use the idea. But I was like, how do I get powerful people to fight for the state, right? And have us be able to control these powerful people and them never be able to turn against us. And part of it was naturally, like, there's schools and stuff like that are basically in the areas where the people in power are. And they're like boarding schools. So it's just unofficially that, yeah, man, if you try and do a coup, we're going to get the kids. And if you don't have kids, your friend has kids. Everyone has kids, you know? So do you want to be responsible for your whatever happens to your friend's kids? I don't know. But I always think about those kind of concepts because I'm struggling with having these powerful generals or a world of very powerful beings being part of the military branch, but the people in charge are just weak individuals. That's why back 5 minutes ago, I was intrigued by the strong people actually being the ones running the government, and it's the weak people out and about.
The mothers of these children died from grief and returned as dark spirits, themselves abducting the children of Taz, other warlords, and their subordinates. This eventually causes Taz's regime to fall. Other warlords attempt to emulate Taz, but one emerges as a territorial leader, eventually bringing most of the archipelago together under a single banner, the Fire Nation.
Oh! Yo, I'm sorry, the details are beneath me. I think they just showed fire sages.
Out into the rest of the world.
This makes sense. I'm sorry.
Warlords eventually come into conflict, though one named Taz is far more brutal than the others and rises to power across the entire.
They've always been a violent
group.
One
village stood up to Taz, and the warlord had their children abducted in retaliation.
My Fire Nation people! I'm so mad I got excited about the Fire Nation plan. I got excited about the Fire Nation plan. I was like, oh man, they're really cooking something. And then it reveals that it's my people. And I'm like, oh, of course. The Fire Nation got the best plot, man. They got the best plot. By the way, despite who I ride with, could you guess what my favorite element is? I should have did that at the beginning of the video. I actually might have put that in the beginning of the video. But anyways, can you guess? I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Comment. 1. I'm going to do like Dora. Let my fingers up. Hold on. Dora. Comment. This is the time to comment. If you could guess what my favorite element is. Guess. It's air. Air is my favorite element. I find it to be the most practical of any particular element. Don't matter where I am, I'm going to have some air and hit you with that. Second is actually earth. It's all about practicality. Third is fire, and then water is whatever. Under a full moon, though, a waterbender is going to light you up. But I'm going to take out your fish people, and then you just nobody. But the Fire Nation, they just gangsters, man.
Were never seen again. The mothers of these children died from grief and returned as dark spirits, themselves abducting the children of Taz, other warlords, and their subordinates. This eventually causes Taz's regime to fall. Other warlords attempt to emulate Taz, but one emerges as a territorial leader, eventually bringing most of the archipelago together under a single banner, the Fire Nation.
What does that mean to be called a territorial leader? Like, I mean, I know what territory is. I know what leader is. But when you combine them together, I'm like, what are you trying to tell me? Territorial leader. What does that mean? It just means like an initiative. Inward-facing, self-protective style in a business or collaborative. Territorial leadership as it pertains to a country. Let's see what it's going. In the context of territorial leadership, is a concept defined by the authority and control exercised under a specific geographical area and its people. It is most accurately understood as a political science term sovereignty, while countries' national leaders are often the figurehead of the territorial leadership. Other political concepts are also at play. Sovereignty. Oh, okay. This is something I overthought about.
Only a few remote islands remain independent. This man, whose name is lost to history, became the first Fire Lord.
Shout out to the first Fire Lord
as spiritual leaders in his new empire. The resulting era
recruited the Fire Sages as spiritual leaders in the new empire.
Was peaceful, but cultural differences amongst the majority of the Fire Island gradually fades away, and its people homogenize. For the next several thousand years, these
I love this man's vocabulary. Homogenize.
Increasingly isolated.
I love that word. I want to add that to my vocabulary. Yeah, man, these people, they had different ideologies with me, but you know what I did? I homogenized those people. What's that word? Homogenize. I gotta write it down. That's a nice word, man.
Isolated, with some enforcing segregation. Cultures with mixed binders gradually die out, while others are violently.
They force segregation? Let me check this again.
Cultures with mixed binders
I love this stuff.
Increasingly isolated, with some enforcing segregation.
Oh.
Fire Island gradually fades away, and its people homogenize. For the next several thousand years, these four nations become increasingly isolated, with some enforcing segregation. Cultures with mixed binders gradually die out, while others are violently destroyed. Only a handful of mixed binding cultures survive, like the Lombak clan on a remote Fire Island, who only do so due to distrust of outsiders and strict isolationism. Obviously, several avatars live and die during these millennia, but we don't know most of their names. Of the few we do hear tale of, there is Avatar Salai, remembered as one of the greatest avatars of their age, and Avatar Gun, who gradually lost faith in humanity. He found humans to be ungrateful and constantly demanding of more, and was only calmed by his friend and companion, the poet and engineer, Masose. A great tsunami hit a harbor city.
You know, that's actually a deep point about humans always wanting more and more. Now I'm gonna go off topic, but I hope you guys like these kinds of things. So, I study Stoicism as part of my personal growth, and one thing that Stoicism teaches you is to be content at what you have. And one of the wild ideas it would teach you is to like inconvenience yourself like once a week. Take a cold bath, take a cold shower because that's an inconvenience. Deprive yourself of something that you typically enjoy. That way you're just used to adversity and you don't stress when things don't go your way. And then emphasize, depending on where you are in your life, that many people, because, some people are really having it rough, but the point is, from 18 to 35, your income should have or gone up. So I'm just going to assume your income has gone up. If it hasn't, I'm sorry. But anyways, your income has gone up from 18 to 35. Your expenses keep going up, not because of a need. Your lifestyle changes. You was eating ramen, now you eating chicken, You was eating chicken, now you eating steak and shrimp. Your expenses keep going up, right? I lost my train of thought where I was. Okay, so humans are always demanding more. Once we reach a sense of contentness, it seems that naturally humans just literally go for more. Most times, it's not a bad thing, but we see that many times in society, it would reveal itself in a bad way. So, obviously we use finances as one example, but let's just say you drink regularly, but now it takes more to get drunk. You got high on cocaine the first time, and then you had this amazing high. Now you're chasing that first high. You'll never get it again. So what do? You keep sniffing. You just keep getting more and more. You put a little bit of salt on your food. Before you know it, your tongue gets desensitized to the salt. What are you doing? You're adding more salt. It happens with so much areas of our life, and that's why depravity tends to pervade more and more when we don't have rules or structures and shaming people. But it's not always a bad thing, but it seems to rear its head the most in bad things. All the examples I gave you were all examples of basically a bad trait of human, but I really can't think of anything that we do demanding of more that pushes us in a good direction. Like, have you ever gave $10 to somebody and you felt so good about it that next time you wanted to give $20 to somebody? No. Whenever we do more of things, it tends not to be to the benefit of anyone else. It literally leads to a self-destructive tendency or just a selfish tendency. If I'm wrong, so be it. I would love for you to open my eyes to more. But when they talked about my homie, who was this Avatar Gun, I feel like he was spitting something, man.
Constantly demanding of more.
He was spitting something.
Calmed by his friend.
That doesn't mean I'm an enemy of humanity. I'm just saying that is something. And because I mentioned it, you shouldn't just go, oh, Lee hates humanity. What you should do is look inside yourself, see where those areas are, and then possibly make a change. Because, like I said, we constantly keep demanding more. So whatever your circumstance is, do you have more than you did 10 years ago, right? If you have more than you did 10 years ago, and you were content 10 years ago, you've probably adjusted your wants to what society has told you. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses or whatever. But if you were happy 10 years ago with less, you should still be able to be happy. And you should adjust your mindset, because Avatar Gun just awoken us to this type of understanding. So that's why I also pointed out, it wasn't just because it was exciting. I'm going through personal growth, and it triggered a moment to possibly help someone else if you guys are interested. Anyways, if you're not interested, you just want to hear about anime and stuff like that, I'll just keep watching this video.
Poet and engineer Masose. A great
I'm somewhat of a poet
hit Harbor
myself.
City during Avatar Gun's era, and though Gun attempted to stop the disaster, he was unable to. Masose died during the flooding, causing Gun to go into self-imposed isolation. He was blamed by the world for not stopping the tsunami. At some point, a great tsunami hit a Harbor City during Avatar Gun's era, and though Gun attempted to stop the disaster, he was unable to.
Oh, he attempted to.
During the flooding, causing Gun to go into self-imposed
Oh, they're mad because
isolation.
he failed.
He was blamed by the world
of
for
course.
not stopping the tsunami.
Of course.
At some point, a group of scholars and warriors from all four nations come together and form the Order of the White Lotus, a secret City during Avatar Gun's era, and though Gun attempted to stop the disaster, he was unable to.
That's
Masose
trash.
died
Gun
during the
actually
flooding,
tried.
causing Gun to go into self-imposed isolation.
I don't know much about Gun, but as of today's video, Gun is in my top 5 favorite avatars, man. Humanity was trash to him.
Stopping the tsunami. At some point, a group of scholars and warriors from all four nations come together and form the Order of the White Lotus.
So this is what I gotta stop and ask. Obviously, Uncle Iroh was part of the Order of the White Lotus. Now I have to look back in my memory. Was Uncle Iroh sabotaging things with Avatar Aang? Because Zuko was with this dude, was never catching Avatar Aang. But I do know that Uncle Iroh often de-escalated situations or was encouraging Zuko not to catch him. Or I think Uncle Iroh did help Aang at the very, very, very last moment. So was it one of those things where Uncle Iroh didn't have to do anything? That's me. Well, 1 second, guys. So I had some work that just got done in my house. I got interrupted, so my thought is throwing off. So I'm thinking, my last thought is basically, Uncle Iroh was always knowing that Zuko was going to fail. So it's like, yo, don't do it, Zuko. The order says one must drink jasmine tea and have peace. In the back of his mind is like, yo, if Zuko ever catches homie, I'm going to have to let him out, man. I'm going to have to let him out. And he was really doing stuff for the Fire Lord, although I know part of the reason why he was banished is there was a mission that Uncle Iroh didn't fully execute on. I know this video actually might talk about it, but just throwing it out there, because if they don't talk about it, then here it is. And if they do talk about it, I'm going to go, oh, questions answered. Just like I said that comment about the bending. And then who taught it, so.
A secret society dedicated to sharing knowledge regardless of political divides. Form the Order of the White Lotus, a secret society dedicated to sharing knowledge regardless of political divides. The organization is often tasked with finding and protecting new incarnations of the Avatar.
No, that's
Avatar.
That's Avatar.
In secret. We get more information about exact events the closer
that was probably
and
a
closer
Fire
we
Lord.
get
That was
to the
probably a
era of
Fire
Avatar Aang
Nation
and the
Avatar, though.
War. For example, several hundred years BG, the spirit lady Tianhe falls in love with a mortal man in the village of Tianhe-shi, assuming a mortal form to marry him. She gives up her immortality and eventually dies, angering General Old Iron. Elsewhere, an earthbender who would eventually be known as Tigwai may have been born. Tigwai masters hidden spiritual knowledge and uses it to bring complete order to his body, ceasing his aging entirely. Functionally, he becomes immortal. The exact date of Tigwai's birth is unknown, and he
functionally
becomes
becomes immortal.
Thousands of years old by the era of Avatar Kyoshi. Eventually, Avatar Zito is born to the Fire Nation. His status was
It's crazy that a mortal man has that ability, but the Avatar, none of the Avatars have mastered that. Like, I get it, only one person has. It's just, that's interesting. But the Avatars can't do everything that I've seen other people do. Like, there's a dude that shoots an atomic bomb from his forehead. Never seen another Avatar do that.
was discovered early after he bent a second element early in his childhood. When Zito was a child, was discovered early after he bent a second element early in his childhood.
There it
when
is.
Zito was a child, a major crisis threatened the Fire Nation. Plagues and natural disasters ravaged the islands, while violence between several noble clans eroded the empire. Faced with these crises, Zito devoted his life to work within the Fire Nation government, rejecting any special privileges and advancing in rank only to work within the Fire Nation government, rejecting any special privileges and advancing in rank only on his own merits. Zito was a gifted diplomat, accountant, and
did I read that right?
reinforcing Fire Lord Yosor's power and authority. Eventually, he became a grand advisor to the Fire Lord and helped restore the Fire Nation's government and economy. Scholars of the age argued that he saved the Fire Nation from complete collapse. Because of this, though Zito was respected by other nations during his life, he spent most of his time looking inwardly to the Fire Nation, only occasionally traveling outside of the island. Two such instances were spending time at the Northern Air Temple and in Wan Shitong's Spirit Library. Looking back, many international scholars believe that Zito was too focused on the Fire Nation and that his decision-making as the Avatar, a position meant to serve all peoples and nations, was biased in favor of his homeland.
Shout out to
he seemed put together and like a man with nothing to hide. Zito's successors would think that inwardly he had a difficult, messy life. After some decades, Zito would pass away, and his spirit reincarnated as Avatar Yangchen, born to the air nomads of the
That's my
Western
homie
Air
Zito.
Temple. In her youth, Yangchen is plagued by voices in her head, and by the age of 8, she'd fall into painful epileptic fits because of them. In reality, this was no sickness, but instead spirits of past avatars and their memories briefly emerging. And because of this, Yangchen and those around her realized that she was the Avatar much younger than was typical. When Yangchen was 9 years old, the Fire Nation and Water tribes conspired to back an Earth Kingdom general attempting a coup against the Earth King.
What?
Water tribes conspired
the Fire and Water
back an
tribes.
Earth Kingdom general attempting a coup against the Earth
What?
King by sending bars of platinum to pay for the general's armies and expenses.
That's
The Earth King
crazy.
defeats the
That's what we're doing right now for the homies in Ukraine.
general and discovers the intervention from the other nations, and in retaliation, the Earth King closes most of his ports to the Water Tribes and Fire Nation. He takes the platinum ingots and plates a statue in his throne room with them, and says that he will not reopen relations until the platinum has rusted enough to appear like stone. This could theoretically take hundreds of years. The entire event becomes known as the Platinum Affair. The Fire Nation and Water Tribes declare similar policies of isolationism, with the only trade between the three nations being what is absolutely necessary, and passing through only a handful of cities. The families running these cities become known as the Shang merchant class, and slowly grow in power and wealth, eventually conspiring together in what they call the Unanimity Project, hoping to someday gain independence from the other nations. Additionally, the art of combustion bending, a specialized form of firebending, was first developed by firebenders in the employ of the Shangs. When
the Shangs. Oh.
11, she enters the spirit world for the first time alongside her sister and teacher Jetson. The two encounter a group of spirits, and though Yangchen does not fear them, one of her past lives does. They possess her body, and the spirits turn dark in retaliation. Jetson sacrifices herself to save Yangchen, who returns to the human world. Jetson's spirit is lost, and her body dies soon afterwards. Around this time, the mortal body of the spirit Tianhe also dies, enraging her friend and protector, General Old Iron. Yangchen masters the four elements and the Avatar state by the time she turns 17, and with the nation's so isolationist, she begins to learn the game of politics to find compromise between the peoples. These skills also allow her to soothe relations between humans and spirits. There are many, many examples of this, including, but not limited.
You know why? Because history is forgotten, man. People forgot history, so you gotta hit up an Avatar, and they gotta remind you, yeah, I remember when that happened. I remember when that happened. That's why an Avatar who's an isolationist is such a disadvantage, because, like, man, you didn't even learn anything. You spent your whole time in there. And that's why the cycle is so important, because even if you were an isolationist, the other person's like, well, yeah, when I grew up in Boston, say, here's how we did it. Yo, the Water Tribe. I grew up in the Water Tribe. There's no way that happened. It's like, oh, snap. So you as the Avatar, not only do you have the powers of all four, not only do you have the experience of all four, it took me to be into my mid-30s watching this video that I realized you have the politics and you have the ability to counter bias. Could you imagine you take the two countries that hate each other the most in this world, right? And they have a representative that has all the reincarnations from, like, the time these countries were conceived. And all they gotta do is say, y'all not even two separate people. Y'all the same group, man. Y'all literally the same group. You're both of y'all are cousins. Y'all just didn't even know it. There is no this and that. There's only that. That was a terrible combination. So they continue fighting. I failed at mediation, but the point remains. I see.
Striking a deal between General Old Iron
That's
and
awesome.
the residents of Tianheishi Village, resettling the humans and allowing the location to be retaken by nature, building a truce.
One more thing. So even when the Avatar makes a mistake, like a critical mistake, that's still critical so that the other Avatar knows you made that mistake and either goes, A, I'm not going to do that again, or B, your timing was bad because of the experience of somebody else. It's like, let's do that mistake now, because now it will no longer be a mistake.
Including
clutch ability.
Striking a deal between General Old Iron and the residents of Tianheishi Village, resettling the humans and allowing the location to be retaken by nature, building a truce between a group of Phoenix Eel spirits and the local humans on a Fire Nation island, and negotiating amnesty for 2 Water Tribe quartermasters imprisoned since the Platinum Affair. Yangchen visits the city of Ben Ir, one of the ports open for trade in the control of the Shangs, and is horrified by the wealth disparity between the Shangs and the common folk. She tries to implement change, but is refused, and she discovers the Unanimity Project. As Yangchen attempts to expose their wrongdoings, the Shangs unleash their combustion benders on Ben Ir as a display of power, but they are captured and imprisoned at the Northern Air Temple. Yangchen is given administration of the city and gains political power. Some months later, agents of the Shangs attack the Northern Air Temple to help the combustion benders. One of them is killed, one is taken into protection by Yangchen, and the final one escapes. A Shang named Chaisi plans an attack on another port city, hoping to force world leaders to give her family independent rulership over their home port. Yangchen discovers the plan and is able to thwart the worst of the attack, though her Sky Bison companion Nujian is killed. In the aftermath, using her political savvy, Yangchen is able to negotiate or blackmail the four nations into abolishing the leadership of the Shang port cities, naming the Avatar as their protector instead. She becomes the de facto ruler of these cities and takes control of the network of spies and assistants that the Shangs built up. With this, she begins the process of diffusing the Cold War between the isolationist kingdoms. Over the next decades, Yangchen continues making deals between the spirits and humans of the world, though these are fragile agreements at best. A long-standing coalition of pirates and criminals from every nation based out of the Eastern Seas formally organize and build their own distinct culture. They eventually begin calling themselves the Fifth Nation, independent from the laws of the other 4 nations. Recognizing their power and danger, Yangchen negotiates and signs a peace deal with the Fifth Nation, protecting the southern coasts of the Earth Kingdom from their raids. Around this time, the man now known as Tigwai the Immortal assassinates the 40th Earth King. In the year 345 BG, Avatar Yangchen dies, and Avatar Kuruk is born in the Northern Water Tribe.
I remember that Avatar. I feel like he didn't do much.
And 312
he didn't do much.
Kuruk is an ill-behaved child, but is discovered to be the Avatar on the typical timeline. He's told of his destiny when he turns 16 and spends the next few years mastering the elements. While learning to master the Avatar state, Kuruk accidentally destroys a small uninhabited island in the Mosi Sea. Additionally, during this period, he befriends an earthbender named Jianzu, an airbender named Kelsang, and a firebender named Heiran. The trio would become Kuruk's closest friends, advisors, and companions. Kuruk would also harbor feelings for Heiran for many years, but never acted upon. Many of the treaties between the humans and spirits negotiated by Yangchen fall apart after her death, leading the spirits to turn dark and attack the humans that break the pacts. Kuruk discovers this, tracks down, and battles many of the spirits, but these fights cause a great deal of damage to his physical body and spiritual vitality. After one such difficult battle, Kuruk meets a fire sage named Nyahitha, who is the only person Kuruk actually tells about his confrontations with the dark spirits. Nyahitha, who is the only person Kuruk actually tells about his confrontations with the dark spirits. Nyahitha does spiritual vitality. After one such difficult battle, Kuruk meets a fire sage named Nyahitha, who is the only person Kuruk actually tells about his confrontations with the dark spirits. Nyahitha does his best to heal Kuruk's body and soul, but Kuruk's condition consistently deteriorates as he continues to fight the spirits. This leads Kuruk into a great depression, and he neglects his other duties as the Avatar. He would often search for dark spirits or powerful benders to fight for no reason other than his own amusement or an attempt to feel alive. Tragically, everyone else in Kuruk's life believes he is being irresponsible and impulsive, and the relationships with his companions deteriorates, much to his grief. In particular, Kuruk is devastated when Heiran finds love and marries elsewhere. Channeling his grief into more combat against dark spirits, Kuruk tracks down Father Glowworm, a spirit creating holes between the human and spirit worlds. The two do battle, but Glowworm is stronger than many other spirits. Kuruk stubbornly fights on, greatly wounding Glowworm Glowworm, though the spirit is able to escape. Father Glowworm curses the Avatar, but is too injured to make a return for at least another generation.
Damn.
Kuruk was also greatly harmed during this battle and
Damn.
would never fully recover. Still, Kuruk's self-destructive lifestyle would continue until he met a woman named Umi.
Oh.
The two fell in love and were to be married, but as they approached the altar, Umi was pulled into the spirit world by Ko, the face stealer, in retaliation for Kuruk's attacks against spirits. Despite multiple attempts, Kuruk could never save Umi, whose face was stolen by Ko. In the year 312 BG, Kuruk dies aged just 33.
Damn, 33?
And companions as he died.
Yo, it sounded like he did so much by the time he was 33. He seemed like he has like a lot of accomplishments. I would have thought it was gonna be like 55.
And instructs
That's crazy.
them to find and train the next Avatar, to do right by them and make up for his mistakes.
Okay.
Kuruk would leave a complicated legacy. Widely believed to be a failure, most were unaware of the great sacrifices he made to fight off evil spirits.
Yeah,
the
I
nations
never
would
saw
also
it.
fall into chaos after his death because of his neglect. The Fifth Nation would break their agreement with Yangchen and begin to raid the Earth Kingdom, while groups of bandits organized
fifth
into a
one?
group called the Yellownecks in hopes of overthrowing the Earth King. But
Damn.
the cycle must continue, as
Of course.
Avatar Kyoshi would be
The
born this same
goat.
year, the daughter of a pair of thieves and actors, part of a group called the Flying Opera Company.
Okay.
By 306 BG, they would leave Kyoshi in the care of Yokoya Village and return to their life of crime.
Everyone
But
looked
the
like
villagers
Korra.
would abandon Kyoshi too. Homeless, she struggles to find food for much of her childhood. In 305
Sad.
BG, Jianzu and Kelsang have been searching for the new Avatar but have had little luck. They stumble upon Kyoshi and give her food, but she runs away before she can be identified. In 304 BG, Jianzu defeats most of the Yellownecks in battle, burying 5,000 of the rebels alive. The remaining
5,000?
Yellownecks go into hiding while their leader, a
Jeez.
firebender named Zhu Ping-an, is imprisoned in the Fire Nation,
Fire-
so his ability to
Earthbender's
generate
OP.
lightning can be studied. Kelsang also defeats a large
Whoa.
portion of the Fire Nation, so his ability to generate lightning can be studied. A firebender named Zhu Ping-an is imprisoned in the Fire Nation, so his ability to generate lightning can be studied. Kelsang also defeats a large portion of the Fifth Nation pirates, and their remnants are led by the waterbending pirate queen Tagaka.
Damn. So the Fire Nation didn't even like within their borders didn't even come up with
For
this.
defeating the Earth Kingdom Navy and raiding the Southern Water Tribe.
Of course, you beat the
Finally,
Earth King
in War of
Navy.
Secrets and
No one should have a better navy than the Waterbenders, in my opinion, but for obvious reasons.
Daggers begins in the Earth Kingdom, as several Earth princes of the royal family feud over the throne and hire assassins to remove rivals. In 299 BG, Kyoshi's parents die from a sickness and are mourned by the rest of the Flying Opera Company. The next year, 298 BG, Jianzu and Kelsang discover a talented 14-year-old earthbender named Yoon, who uses a unique strategy Kuruk developed for the game Pai Sho. Though doubts
Sho.
linger, they incorrectly identify Yoon as the new Avatar and take
Oh.
him under their wing, beginning his Avatar training in a mansion in the Yokoya Peninsula. As fate would
Ow.
have it, this is where Kyoshi was also living, and out of,
Of
kindness,
course.
Kelsang adopts Kyoshi.
Of
She
course.
becomes a maid
That's
and
actually pretty
bodyguard
dope.
for Yoon. By 296
That's funny.
BG, Yoon has been trained by Kuruk's former team, Jianzu, Kelsang, and Taeron.
That's
and
funny.
though he is the perfect Avatar diplomatically, he has been unable to produce any other elements.
Yes.
Yoon also befriends the now tall and strong Kyoshi and Heiran's daughter, Rangi. Yoon,
Yes.
Kyoshi, and their entourage travel to the Fifth
So
Nation
she
to find
hasn't
diplo-
did anything else to show that she's the Avatar. This is an interesting story.
Jianzu gifts Kyoshi with an armored kimono for the occasion, which would become her signature look. The
Yeah.
negotiations with Tagaka sour, and the Pirate
Yes.
Queen attempts to capture the Avatar. Kyoshi
Yes.
saves Yoon by entering the Avatar state and destroying much of the Fifth Nation, causing Jianzu and Kelsang to second-guess themselves.
Of course.
In the looming Avatar succession crisis, Jianzu takes Yoon and Kyoshi to see Father Glowworm, who correctly
course.
identifies Kyoshi as the Avatar.
Yep.
Jianzu sacrifices Yoon to the spirit, who is left behind and thought dead. Because of this, Kyoshi refuses Jianzu as a teacher, though he intends to force her to stay, and thought dead.
Whoa.
Kyoshi as the Avatar. Jianzu sacrifices Yoon to the
What?
spirit, who is left behind and thought dead. Because of
Yo, that's so wicked, man.
Kyoshi refuses Jianzu.
Yeah, man. That was just your pupil. That was just your dude. And now you sacrificing him? I know we're skipping a whole lot of information to get there, but dang, that's
though he
crazy.
intends to force her to stay and train her. Kelsang confronts Jianzu about Yoon and
Yes.
is killed, causing Kyoshi and Rangi to escape into the Earth Kingdom. They meet the Flying Opera Company, who become trusted companions to the Avatar. During their travels, Kyoshi deduces that one of the criminals, an old drunk named Laogi, is not who he seems. He is actually the assassin Tigwai the Immortal, putting up
Wow.
a facade to hide his abilities.
Wow.
In addition to her bending training, Laogi also trains Kyoshi in the ways of assassination and how to extend her lifespan. The Flying Opera Company helped free Zhu Ping.
I talked about that. Avatar's not learning that. That's great. So she at least introduced to extending her lifespan. Now we find out how long she lived and why other avatars don't try to figure this out. In the Avatar state or whatever, or talking to the avatars.
Continue his reign of terror. Kyoshi cannot stand for this and kills Aang in a duel.
Hell yeah.
Elsewhere, Jianzu is questioned by the Council of Earth Sages about his handling of Yoon and Kyoshi. He's deemed unfit to act as the Avatar's guardian, and in retaliation, Jianzu poisons and kills all of the sages. Meanwhile, Yoon awakens in the spirit world and battles Father Glowworm to a stalemate. The two are evenly matched, but Yoon eventually overpowers
Yoon is
Glowworm
really strong. That's why I thought he was Avatar.
Merges with the spirit. Using Glowworm's power, Yoon returns to the human world and realizes he has a connection with Kyoshi thanks to the curse that Glowworm put on the Avatar. Angered by the betrayal of Jianzu, Yoon begins a campaign of revenge against everyone he thinks has wronged him, including Kelsang and Heiran. Kyoshi, Jianzu, and Yoon all confront one another in a tea house in Kinchao village, where Yoon kills Jianzu and then escapes. Over the next year, Kyoshi continues her Avatar duties, defeating several Fifth Nation fleets, a bandit clan called the Emerald Claws, and both a criminal triad and corrupt peace officers in Ba Sing Se. In 295 BG, Kyoshi is invited by the Fire Lord to attend the Festival of Zeto, during which Yoon targets Heiran. Several guests are taken hostage, and two, an Earth Kingdom noble from the Beifong clan and a Fire Nation diplomat, are killed. This triggers a small conflict known as the Camellia Peony War. Kyoshi eventually confronts Yoon in Yokoya and sadly kills Yoon during the battle. He's buried on a hill over the village.
Bodies! Avatar Kyoshi, I already knew she was like that brutal one. I remember when we watched the live action, she was telling the Avatar, yeah, kill him, man. She is so opposite of Aang. I just see bodies, 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 bodies.
Him, her, him, bodies, 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 bodies.
Avatar Kyoshi.
Yoon in Yokoya and sadly kills Yoon during the battle. He's buried on a hill overlooking the village as Kyoshi and Rangi mourn their lost friend. Kyoshi and Rangi admit their feelings for one another and start a relationship as Kyoshi also meets a fox that becomes her animal companion. Sometime between 295 and 293 BG,
they start a relationship.
Becoming a larger threat, Kyoshi forms the Anti-Corruption Task Force in Ba Sing Se to defeat them, and are able to do so thanks to the help of various heroes who take up the cause. Around 270 BG, Kyoshi forms
Kyoshi the GOAT.
Peninsula as her home and trains the first generation of warriors in her image. They would later become known as simply the
Kyoshi Warriors.
Unfortunately, the world continues to be divided.
Of
the
course.
Air Nomads lose several spiritual sites due to the long-term consequences of Kuruk's crusade against dark spirits, and the Camellia Peony War causes the Northern Air Temple to temporarily close their borders. The Fifth Nation also attacks the independent city-state of Jasmine Island, unsuccessfully trying to annex it. Due to the destabilization of the Earth Kingdom, there's a growing dissent against the Earth King. A local leader who would become known as Chin the Conqueror rebels against the kingdom and is able to take over most of the continent save for Ba Sing Se and the Yokoya Peninsula. Kyoshi confronts Chin, who demands her surrender. Instead, she splits the peninsula from the mainland, forming Kyoshi Island. During this incredible feat of strength, the ground beneath Chin collapses, killing him and ending his rebellion. Chin's death, instability continues, causing a peasant uprising against the Earth King. They declare him unfit to rule and rebel in Ba Sing Se, storming the city's upper ring.
They was already in Ba Sing Se, so easy to get over those walls.
To the capital to squash the uprising, but she refuses.
They're also airbenders, or earthbenders.
The king would listen to the peasants' grievances and draft a new constitution protecting more rights for commoners, and in return, Kyoshi would train an elite force of earthbenders to protect the Earth Kingdom and its interests. The Earth King agrees, and this special force,
the Daila,
becomes known as the Dai Li.
Dai Li, I tried.
She greatly extends her life using Lao Gi's teaching.
That's cool.
Sometimes its interests. The Earth King agrees, and this special force becomes known as the Dai Li. Sometime after this, Kyoshi greatly extends her life using Lao Gi's teachings. Though she is able to help commoners throughout this whole time, Kyoshi's long life changes her, and she becomes more willing to take lives. This sadly creates a cycle of violence where some turn to wrongdoing because of Kyoshi's actions. This is voiced by Kyoshi's airbending companion Disha, who warns the Avatar that she may become unrecognizable if she lives for another century. Kyoshi
This is why actually an Avatar living is like a presidential term. If the Avatar lives too long and they're bad, that's it, right? So it's like, yeah, if the Avatar lives too long, they get too powerful, they get too corrupt, whatever. They need to be humble. You just can't stick around too long. That just makes sense. And if you get stuck with the bad Avatar, you're like, you know what? We're just gonna wait for the next term. Might be 7 years, whatever that is. And then we get a new Avatar, and it's like flipping a coin. That makes sense. That's part of the balance, is that the Avatar doesn't live too long.
This assessment prompting Disha to leave the Avatar and airbending masters to refuse aiding Kyoshi any further. In 82 BG, Kyoshi finally dies, aged 230. No one is sure what actually ends up killing Kyoshi, though Disha hopes that her advice helped Kyoshi finally let go. In the wake of her death, the Earth Sages, reformed under Kyoshi, uphold her peace and laws. But the cycle must continue, as Avatar Roku is born Fire Nation. He is part of a pair of twins, the other being named Yasu. On the same day, Prince Sozin of the Fire Nation was also born.
Yep.
A deal happens over the next 16 years.
That Avatar failed to kill Sozin.
BG. An infant
Sozin's
Roku
comet.
discovers a dragon egg, and he names it
I think that's why I struggled Ozin, because it's Sozin's comet, right? I think that's Sozin's comet.
In 66 BG, an infant Roku discovers a dragon egg, and he names it Fang when it hatches. It becomes his lifelong animal companion. Roku, Yasu, and Sozin when it hatches. BG. An infant Roku discovers a dragon egg, and he names it Fang when it hatches. It becomes his lifelong animal companion.
He had an animal
Roku,
companion that's a
Yasu,
dragon.
and Sozin also become very close friends in their childhood.
Yeah.
Isolationist philosophy goes out of style with the air nomads who open their temples to foreign nations. In particular, their teachings are popular with Fire Nation nobility. The Southern Water Tribe recovers from the damage and poverty caused by the age of piracy, and the world is on a brink of a technological industrial revolution as educational institutes pop up all over the world. Several scattered uprisings.
The Icelandish wasn't helping them.
Outer Islands rebellions crop up, dissatisfied with the rule of the Fire Lord, but they're not a serious threat. Finally, the Earth King makes changes to the constitution Kyoshi drafted to the objection of the Earth Sages. Sadly, in 70 BG, Yasu is killed during an accident at sea, deeply affecting Roku. In 66 BG, Roku is announced as the new Avatar on his 16th birthday.
He didn't know yet.
And Sozin is excited for his friend, even if it means that Roku must leave. Roku begins his Avatar training, learning airbending at the Southern Air Temple. He's taught by Kyoshi's airbending companion Disha, and befriends a young monk named Gyatso. The independent island of Lambak is discovered by both the Earth Kingdom's Western Kingdom Trading Company and the Fire Nation. Lambak is one of the few remaining isolated islands with a mixed bending culture, and is home to several caves with spiritual energy that enhance bending. As a result, both parties want to annex the island, and Sozin tricks Roku into aiding his cause. The Western Kingdom Trading Company is defeated, but Roku kills the Lambak clan chief while defending his friends. Roku convinces Sozin to let Lambak remain independent. However, this is done by incorporating it into the Fire Nation as a, quote, special region, effectively turning Lambak into Sozin's personal fiefdom. Sometime after 66 BG, the Earth King sends the corrupted Dai Li to round up every single Earth Sage since the Order spoke out against him. The Order is abolished, and the few sages that remain are reformed as Grand Electors, loyal to the Earth King. The event known as
the whole series of corruption has me speechless right now.
Night of the Silent Sages, and the Queen of Omashu opposes the action, leading to tensions that almost spark all-out war. In 56 BG, Sozin ascends to Fire Lord after the death of his father, and he is popular with his people due to how he handled the Lambak Island conflict. Over the next few years, Sozin consolidates his rule, fully stamping out rebellions from noble houses and uplifting the country's poorest. Technological development continues as the Fire Nation develops a coal-powered fleet, creating hundreds of jobs for Fire Nation citizens. However, resources for the boats are scarce, leading to tensions between the Fire Nation and other kingdoms, not helped by Sozin claiming island territory of both the Earth Kingdom and Water Tribes for their ore. During this period,
of course, because the resources were low.
Hits the Northern Earth Kingdom state of Qinbao. The Water Tribes blame the Earthbenders for the disaster, while the Earth Kingdom blames Waterbenders.
Fire Nation takes advantage.
Northern Passage conflict almost escalates into war, stopped only through Roku's intervention. In the fallout, the governor of Qinbao places a tax on all Water Tribe goods in the Northern Passage. There's no reasonable way to enforce this, and all Water Tribe goods effectively become contraband in the Earth Kingdom. Sozin's sister, Fire Princess Zaysan, renounces her title and wealth to marry an airbender named Conrad.
She became broke?
A group called the Guiding Wind. Zaysan sensed corruption in her family and did this partially to hurt Sozin's reputation, enraging the Fire Lord. To maintain popularity, Sozin organizes the first dragon hunts with the nobility, giving any who slay.
Yo, what? Does the Avatar Roku got a dragon? Oh my god. Y'all started hunting the people that taught y'all the firebending in the first place?
Popularity, Sozin organizes
That's terrible.
dragon hunts with the nobility, giving any who slay one the honorary
That's
title
terrible.
of dragon.
Roku's gonna
Nobility
lose his
love
dragon.
the sport, and many more dragons are killed than intended, nearly leading to their extinction.
That's terrible.
In response to this, as well as rising tensions and growing industrialization, the Sun Warriors go into complete isolation from the outside world. Many believe them to completely die out, while some in the Fire Nation are even taught that they went extinct thousands of years ago.
Terrible, man.
54 BG, Roku returns to the Fire Nation to settle down, marrying a noblewoman and diplomat named Ta Min. Sozin is his best man, and during the wedding shares his vision for a worldwide Fire Nation empire, hoping to spread the wealth to the other nations.
That
Roku
sounds
forbids
dangerous.
the idea, but going against him, Sozin begins to establish colonies in Earth Kingdom and Air Nomad territory.
Sounds
In
dangerous.
37 BG, Roku discovers the first of these colonies and confronts Sozin. Roku easily defeats him and destroys the Fire Nation throne room, ordering Sozin to stop his expansion. In 12 BG, the volcano on Roku's home island erupts, and as Roku attempts to calm it, Sozin sees the eruption and rushes to help his friend. Together, the two contain most of the volcano and
That's
save
where
the
Roku
island.
doesn't make it
However,
out.
Roku is hit by poisonous gas from the eruption,
Yep.
and seizing the opportunity to expand Fire
Yep.
Nation power, Sozin
Yep.
leaves Roku to die
Yep.
with his dragon Fang. Aged just 70, Roku accepts his death, and Avatar Aang is born soon afterwards to the Air Nomads. He is more or less raised by Roku's airbending companion, Monkey.
I completely missed it. I was like, yo, then how many avatars was between Aang? I'm gonna out myself. Between Aang and this dude again? Yo, this don't make no sense. I had to remember the ice cube, the iceberg, 100 years, just in time for the next comet.
Not so. Over the next 10 years, Aang is shown to be an airbending prodigy. He
Yeah.
invents a new technique called the air scooter and earns his
Air
tattoos,
scoot-
making him
he's
the
a
youngest
prodigy.
airbending master in history. Aang also
He's a
travels
prodigy,
the world and
man.
makes friends in every nation, including a boy named Bumi in Omashu and
Yeah.
Kuzan of the Fire Nation. Aang also bonds with his sky bison Appa, who becomes his lifelong animal companion.
Aw.
In year 0 BG, sensing the
There it
looming
is.
war with the Fire Nation's expansionism, most of the air monks wish to accelerate Aang's avatar training in
They
hopes
need
that
him.
he can maintain peace. Gyatso fiercely opposes this, believing that Aang should have a normal childhood, but he's outvoted, and Aang is told that he is the Avatar 4 years earlier than normal, isolating him from other children. The monks
Damn.
decide to send Aang away from Gyatso, which Aang overhears, devastating him and causing him to run away. Distraught, Aang flies to the South Pole, but is caught in a great storm and pulled underwater. Aang saves himself and Appa by entering the Avatar state and suspending them in ice. Fire Lord Sozin discovers a comet that approaches the planet, which greatly enhances firebending power. Using Sozin's comet, the Fire Nation attack all Air Nomad temples, attempting to kill the Avatar before he can stop the Fire Nation's expansion. Every single Air Nomad is killed during this
Every
initial
single
attack
one.
or in the following years. Simultaneously, the Fire Nation invades the Earth Kingdom and Water Tribes, gaining strong footholds against both nations. By the
That's
year
crazy how
15
strong the
AD,
Fire
Sozin
Nation
uses
was.
propaganda to establish a cult of personality around himself and the royal family as the war rages on. The people
Smart
of
man.
the Fire Nation are taught that the Airbenders were violent and planned to attack
Truth.
the Fire Nation,
Truth.
justifying their slaughter.
Truth.
Fire Lord Sozin
I'm
eventually
joking, guys. I'm joking. I know it's not
dies in
true.
20 AG, aged 102, as his son Fire Lord Azulon succeeds him.
Azulon.
Sometime after this, a group of Fire
Azula is
Nation
named
officers
after her
defect
grandfather.
and form a pirate clan known as the Crimson Sails Armada. The Fire Nation Navy destroys the navies for both the northern and southern water tribes in massive battles. In the
Yo, Water Nation, what have y'all been doing? What have y'all been doing? They didn't have ships like
Navy
these.
begins to raid the southern water
problem.
tribe. Their cities are devastated.
That's
and
crazy
waterbenders
work.
are systematically captured or killed. A woman named Hama is the last known waterbender captured from the south, while the rest go into exile or hiding. Before the year 82 AG, Long Feng becomes the leader
Feng?
of the Dai Li and regent of Ba Sing Se, using his position to suppress knowledge of the war from the young Earth King. Additionally, Fire Lord Azulon marries his younger son Ozai
there
to
is no
Ursa,
war.
daughter of a noble family and Roku's granddaughter. In 84
Ooh,
AG, Princess
Roku's
Yue
granddaughter.
of the Northern Water Tribe is born, but she's deathly sick. Her father prays to the Moon Spirit at the tribe's spiritual oasis, and the Moon Spirit gifts Yue with part of its own spirit, saving her life and turning her hair white. In 90 AG, Fire Nation Admiral Yuya launches a campaign called the Devastation against Jasmine Island alongside
Jasmine
her second in
Island?
command, Captain Zhao. Skeptical of her motivations, Fire Prince Lu Tin, grandson of Azulon, takes part in the invasion.
Even though
Realizing
they're
she has gone
skeptical.
too far, Lu Tin and his men help the defenders of Jasmine Island defeat Yuya, who had
What?
secretly planned the attack for selfish, personal reasons.
What?
In 94 AG, General Iroh, son of
Yeah, the goat.
and father of Lu Tin, begins the siege of Ba Sing Se. Additionally,
Supposed to be,
rumors
as
of
far as I'm
another
concerned, the
waterbender in
Shoe Lord,
Southern
right?
Water tribe reach the Fire Nation. They attack the village of Wolf Cove looking for them, killing the chief's wife Kaya when she claims to be the waterbender. In reality, Kaya was protecting the real waterbender, her daughter Katara. With Kaya's death, Azulon believes waterbenders to be truly extinct in the south and orders a stop to the raids, diverting those resources elsewhere.
That makes
In
sense,
95
but damn.
AG, Iroh breaks through the walls of Ba Sing Se, becoming the first in history to do so. However, Lu Tin is killed during the battle, devastating Iroh. He ends the siege after 600 days, retreating and causing the general to be viewed as a failure and disgraced by many, including his brother Ozai. Seizing the opportunity, Ozai privately declares Iroh unfit to inherit to
Yeah.
Fire Lord Azulon,
Yeah.
citing his weakness and lack of an heir.
Yeah.
Azulon, however, loved Lu Tin and is furious at the suggestion. Wanting Ozai to feel the pain of losing his firstborn, Azulon orders him to kill his oldest child, Fire Prince Zuko. Ozai intends to carry out the order, but is stopped by Ursa when she discovers the plot. Instead, she offers a trade. She would craft a poison that leaves no trace, which Ozai could use to take the throne, as long as Zuko lives. Ozai agrees, but now knowing of the poison, banishes Ursa so she could never use the poison.
Yeah,
again.
smart
Azulon
man. What happened to my mother? Smart man.
dies that same night, and it's declared that his dying wish was that the throne would pass to Ozai. Iroh
That's
does not press
suspicious.
his claim, and Ozai is crowned Fire Lord, while Ursa disappears. Ursa secretly returns to her home village and discovers that her parents have passed away, but reignites an old romance with a man named Norin. With the help of the spirit, the Mother of Faces, Ursa's face, memories, and identity are altered. She becomes Noriko, but sadly loses her memory of her life and children with
Oh, that's
Ozai.
sad.
After 95 AG,
That's
Ozai's
sad.
strategies become increasingly bold and brutal. He signs a secret deal with the Crimson Sails Armada to end their attacks on the Fire Nation and plots to conquer the city of Omashu. This plan is so dangerous that it causes at least one Fire Army general to defect. In 97
Jeez.
AG, Fire Prince Zuko
He's like, "We're
attends
not
his
doing
first
this."
war meeting, but is frustrated to hear plans to sacrifice troops. He speaks
My boy
out,
Zuko.
enraging Ozai and sparking a ritualistic duel known as an Agni Kai. Zuko believes his opponent will be the elderly Fire Nation general he insulted, but
Nope.
is shocked when Ozai is instead
Nope.
his opponent. Zuko begs for forgiveness,
Nope.
but Ozai burns his face
Nope.
and banishes Zuko,
Sorry.
telling him he can only return if he captures the Avatar.
Which is an impossible
This
mission.
Is a fool's errand since the Avatar has been missing for almost 100 years and was never meant to be completed. Iroh, having come to view the Fire Prince as a surrogate son, accompanies Zuko during his banishment. In 99 AG, Katara and her older brother Sokka discover Avatar Aang in the iceberg and awaken him. They are quickly discovered by Prince Zuko, who confirms the Avatar's identity before they escape. Aang begins his Avatar training with Katara teaching him waterbending. The three then visit the Southern Air Temple, where Aang discovers that all of the air nomads have been killed.
Damn.
The trio recruit a winged lemur named Momo at the temple.
Damn.
Zuko's ship is ambushed and damaged by pirates, and they're
God
forced to
dang
dock at
pirates.
Fire Nation Harbor for repairs. Here, Zuko and Zhao begin a rivalry after Zuko defeats Zhao in an Agni Kai, but spares his life. Aang's group visits Kyoshi Island, where they befriend the Kyoshi warriors and their leader, Suki. The island has...
Baby, you call me? Wait 1 second.
visits Kyoshi Island after Zuko defeats Zhao in an Agni Kai, but spares his life. Aang's group visits Kyoshi Island, where they befriend the Kyoshi warriors and their leader, Suki. The island has remained neutral in the war so far, but joined the war effort against the Fire Nation after Zuko attacks the island searching for the Avatar. Despite the intervention of Avatar Aang, the fortress city of Shin-Guan is put under siege and captured by the Fire Nation, paving the way for future invasion efforts. Additionally, the Fire Nation attempts and captured. Despite the intervention of Avatar Aang, the fortress city of Shin-Guan is put under siege and captured by the Fire Nation, paving the way for future invasion efforts. Additionally, the Fire Nation attempts to recover the ancient writings of a famous Earth Kingdom general at Hegemon's Folly, but they are thwarted by a river pirate crew led by Jiang. And despite the Fire Lord's order to withdraw from the south, a Fire Nation crew attacks the South Pole's temple to claim a powerful artifact. Aang and his friends visit Omashu, where they learn that Aang's childhood friend Bumi is now
still alive.
Earthbender and king of the city. Later, led by Katara, prisoners at a prison rig off the the coast of the Earth Kingdom revolt against their Fire Nation captors. The rig
Good.
is later captured and used as a base by the Earth Kingdom army. During the winter solstice, Fire Sage Shu aids Avatar Aang in the infiltration of and escape from
that's
the
right.
Temple of the Crescent Island,
'Cause he needed to get
speak
there.
the spirit of Avatar Roku. Roku
Jeez.
informs Aang that Sozin's comet will return by summer's end and that they must defeat Ozai before then. Zhao is promoted to Admiral and captures Avatar Aang, imprisoning him. However, a mysterious warrior named the Blue Spirit helps Aang escape. Aang discovers that Zuko is the Blue Spirit and helps Zuko escape capture after he's knocked unconscious. Freedom fighters led by the rebel Jet.
That guy actually looks like Zuko without the eye thing.
Village of Gaipan in the Earth Kingdom. Sokka, unwilling to let innocent civilians of any nation die, informs the village of the plan and saves the villagers before they're killed by Jet. In the new year, 100 AG, Aang begins his firebending training with Master Zhang Zhang. However, after he accidentally hurts Katara with the flames, he feels guilty and is hesitant to firebend again. Katara learns that she can heal herself and others with waterbending. Aang's training prematurely ends after Zhao attacks and the group is separated from Zhang Zhang. Aang and his friends visit the Northern Air Temple where they discover the Mechanist and other survivors from his village living in the ruins. Aang is furious at the disrespect that they're showing the temple, but eventually lets go of the frustration.
Yo, he really crashed out.
Then attacks the temple but are repelled. Unfortunately, they
found war plans of that war balloon.
Aftermath, and it's taken to be reverse engineered.
Bossing Say won't hold against that.
Water tribe where Sokka meets Princess Yue, daughter of the chieftain, and they fall in love. Katara is angered that women are not taught offensive waterbending and challenges the waterbending master Pakku to a duel. Though Pakku defeats Katara, he is impressed by her ability and relents, agreeing to train the women. Aang then continues his waterbending training, which
came in handy.
Elsewhere, Zhao discovers that Prince Zuko is the Blue Spirit and conspires to assassinate him. Though nearly successful, Zuko survives. Only Iroh is aware of this. Iroh accompanies Zhao on his next mission to invade the north, while Zuko infiltrates Zhao's fleet. Zhao leads an invasion of Agna Kala, capital of the Northern Water Tribe, though Zuko infiltrates the city during the attack to kidnap Aang. Though the Fire Nation almost defeats the Water Tribe, Zhao oversteps by killing Tui, the physical manifestation of the Moon Spirit in the North's Spirit Oasis. Enraged, Aang briefly merges with La, the Ocean Spirit, and destroys
goes on a
the
rampage.
Forces. Zhao is taken
we
to the
pissed.
spirit world and forced to wander in the fog of
Good
lost
for him.
souls.
Good
Princess
for him.
Yue sacrifices herself to revive Tui, saving
Giving
the
up
moon,
that life
and
force
Yue
that she
becomes
got.
one with the Moon Spirit as she dies. In the wake of the siege, Pakku forms the Southern Reconstruction Project, believing that the North has been isolationist for far too long. Pakku then leads this group to the South Pole to rebuild their sister tribe. Elsewhere, after Zhao's failure, Fire Lord Ozai sends his daughter Princess Azula to capture the Avatar, as well as imprison both Zuko and Iroh, whom he believes to be traitors. Azula recruits her childhood friends Mei and Ty Lee for the cause. Azula almost captures Zuko and Iroh, but they realize the ruse and escape. The pair ritualistically cut off their ponytails, recognizing that they're
done with that.
Never return home.
They're done with
Fire
that.
Nation attacks Omashu, but King Bumi surrenders without a fight, sparing its citizens, though he is taken prisoner himself. This enrages the populace, who form the Omashu Resistance. Aang arrives in the city as the Resistance attempts to kill the Fire Nation governor. Aang stops them, convinces the Resistance to leave the city, and
they want none of them
though
diseases.
Bumi turns himself in afterwards, he has other plans. Aang and his friends meet Toph Beifong, a blind girl who has learned advanced
Yes,
techniques from
Toph.
Toph joins the group and begins Aang's earthbending training.
Nice.
Zuko parts ways with Iroh while Zuko goes on a journey of self-discovery. While briefly leaving the group, Toph meets and befriends Iroh, though she is unaware of his identity.
Of
Team Avatar
course.
form a temporary alliance with Zuko and Iroh to defeat Azula, which results in
That's
Iroh's
crazy.
victory and Azula's escape. While briefly separated from the rest of Team Avatar, Katara meets Yang and her pirate crew. The group breaks through a Fire Nation blockade, delivering medicine to an isolated
Yo, this is such a deep story, man.
community.
Like, as far as the
Despite their
details.
status as pirates, Katara and Zhang part ways on good terms. Team Avatar finds
Team
the Wan
Avatar?
Shi Tong's library in the desert,
owl.
in which Sokka discovers the date of an eclipse that will negate all firebending. Wan Shi Tong, furious that his knowledge is being used for war, sinks the library into the sand and returns it to the spirit world. Appa is kidnapped by several sandbenders at this time, eventually making his way to a prison
Poor
in Ba Sing
Appa.
Se. Zuko and Iroh travel to Ba Sing Se incognito as refugees and meet Jet along the way.
Doesn't
Jet
Zuko
notices
free
Iroh
him? him?
Heating a
I
cup
think
of
he
tea
frees
and
him.
believes
I'm gonna let
to
it
be a
go.
Fire Nation spy. Zuko
Yeah.
and Iroh work in a tea shop where Jet confronts them, and Jet is arrested and taken to a secret re-education camp in
Damn.
Laogai. Princess Azula leads an assault on Ba Sing Se, hoping to break through the walls.
Yeah, I remember that drill.
Ultimately fails. Azula's team
Jeez.
fights several Kyoshi warriors, including Suki, who is taken prisoner.
Dang,
Azula
Suki.
uses the Kyoshi's armor to infiltrate Ba Sing Se. Avatar Aang
Dang.
informs the Earth King of the eclipse, but the Earth King doesn't even know there's a war going on. Along with Jet, Team
Oh, god dang it. War? There is no war.
Avatar breaks into Lake Laogai, discovering the Dai Li's treachery, though Jet is killed during the attack.
Yeah.
Zuko likewise finds and frees Appa, who soon reunites with Team Avatar.
Aw.
Toph develops the ability to metal bend, a feat long thought impossible by Earthbenders, becoming the first person in history to do so. Long Feng,
Good old
leader
Toph.
of the Dai Li, allies with Azula and leads a coup d'etat against the Earth King, giving Azula control of the city.
That's
Ba Sing Se
crazy.
falls to Fire Nation control.
That's crazy.
Zuko betrays both.
And I remember that. That's crazy. That's when my boy Aang enters the Avatar state and a pow gets hit from behind or something by Azula.
And Team Avatar siding with Azula, who in turn mortally wounds Aang.
Right there.
He survives because Katara heals him with water from the Spirit Oasis from the North Pole. Azula
Yeah.
gives Zuko credit for killing the Avatar, allowing Zuko to return home and protecting herself should Aang have survived. Iroh is imprisoned in the Fire Nation. Aang is
Wait.
home and protecting herself. Azula gives Zuko credit for killing the
She's smart. She's so smart. Remember
allowing
that?
Zuko to return home and protecting herself should Aang have survived.
Yeah.
Iroh is imprisoned in the Fire Nation.
Yeah.
Aang is unconscious for weeks.
Betrayed
during which
uncle.
Team Avatar meets up with Water Tribe soldiers led by Sokka and Katara's father, Hakoda, and hijack a Fire Nation cruiser. While passing as just another Fire Nation ship, they discover that the world thinks Aang is dead, which they
Yeah.
decide to use at their advantage
Yeah.
and plan a surprise attack during
Yeah.
the eclipse. Aang eventually awakens and recovers. Team Avatar spend the next few months infiltrating the Fire Nation. During this time, Sokka crafts a sword made from meteorite and trains under Swordmaster
Nice.
Pian Dao, a member of the mysterious organization known as the
That's
White
it,
Lotus.
the White
Despite
Lotus.
returning home and getting everything he seemingly wanted,
Ooh.
Zuko feels guilty for betraying Iroh and Team Avatar. He discovers that he is the great-grandson of both Fire Lord Sozin and Avatar Roku,
Ooh.
and decides to help Aang defeat Ozai. Team Avatar discovers Hama, a powerful waterbender living in secret in the Fire Nation. She wishes to get revenge on the Fire Nation and reveals an advanced form of waterbending to
Yes,
Katara
the blood
known as
bending.
bloodbending. This lets a waterbender control someone else's body when the moon is full, which Katara is horrified by,
Yes.
but ends up learning.
Yes.
During the eclipse, Sokka leads an invasion of the Fire Nation capital. However, Ozai and Azula foresaw the invasion and hide while they do not have their bending.
Dang.
Zuko also confronts Ozai and tells him that he will be leaving to help the Avatar.
Dang.
When the eclipse ends, most of the invasion force is captured with only the younger members and Aang's core group
Dang.
escaping. Zuko also attempts to help Iroh escape, only to discover that he
already
has
did.
on his own.
Yeah, my man was
Simultaneously,
training.
King Bumi escapes and reclaims Omashu during the eclipse. Zuko joins Avatar Aang and his friends and resumes Aang's
It was
fire
easy with
training.
Bumi.
Aang and Zuko travel to an island inhabited by the Sun Warriors where they're taught the dancing dragon technique by the dragons Ran and Shaw. Zuko helps Sokka locate the Boiling Rock prison, hoping to free his father Hakoda, who has been captured during the invasion.
Oh.
Suki is also being held in this prison, and the group become the first prisoners to ever escape from the Boiling Rock. Sokka and Suki begin a
Suki.
relationship. Zuko helps Katara track down the man who killed her mother to exact revenge. She almost kills the man in anger, but relents after seeing how pathetic his life has become. As Sozin's comet approaches, Aang has
Wait, why was he
helps
pathetic?
Katara track down the man who killed her mother to exact
Oh,
revenge. She almost
that's
kills the man in
right.
anger, but
That's
relents
right. That's when
after
her
seeing how
and
pathetic
Zuko
his life
bonded.
has become. As
Zuko was
Sozin's
right
comet
there.
approaches, Aang has a crisis of faith as he does not wish to kill Ozai. He
Nah.
encounters a lion turtle who teaches
Of
Aang
course,
inner
because the lion turtles gave humans the bending in the first place. Of course, they know how to take away the bending.
or the ability to give or take away bending. Ozai plans to use
The
comet's
epiphanies.
power to destroy much of the Earth Kingdom with a fleet of airships.
I learned about them giving people the bending in Korra. While I forgot in the beginning of this video, you know, you're watching it and memories come back. So I learned about them giving giving powers in Korra, but I forgot that Aang had studied with them and learned that power. Unless they already talked about it in Korra, and I'm already supposed to know this and already forgot. But the point is, mind blown.
So he crowns himself the Phoenix King
The
and passes
Phoenix
the title
King.
Fire Lord to Azula. As
That's
the comet
cool.
passes the planet, Zuko and Katara travel to the Fire Nation to confront Azula. Zuko and Azula fight in an Agni Kai, which Azula wins through deceptive tactics. Katara then defeats Azula and heals Zuko. Sokka, Suki, and Toph attack the air fleet and are able to take down the ships before they can burn a significant portion of the Earth Kingdom. The Order of the White Lotus,
There they are.
Iroh and consisting of Masters Pakku, Zhang, Bumi, and Pianist.
That's what Boomy was waiting for. He's part of White Lotus.
Say from Fire Nation control. Avatar Aang confronts
Them
Ozai
5 did
and
so much
Great
damage.
Bossing Say from Fire Nation.
And Iroh was, of course, powered up because of this comet.
Avatar Aang confronts Ozai and, after the battle, uses energy bending to take away Ozai's fire bending.
Yeah.
Ozai and Azula are imprisoned for their crimes, while Zuko
Dang.
is crowned Fire Lord, vowing to help the world rebuild after the 100-year war. The Harmony
Nice.
Restoration movement is launched to facilitate this, intending to remove Fire Nation
Harmony
colonies
Restoration.
from the Earth Kingdom. Despite this, there remains some resistance from Fire Nationals who
Of
still
course.
support Ozai and
Of course.
Azula. Avatar Aang and Katara begin a relationship that would
Ooh.
last the rest of their lives.
Nice.
In 101 AG, Toph founds the Beifong Metalbending Academy to teach other Earthbenders how to metal bend. The Yudao Resistance is formed to prevent the removal of the Fire Nation colony Yudao from the Earth Kingdom, since most of its residents have mixed heritage and families will be split by the removal.
True.
Zuko helped facilitate the Treaty of Yudao between the Fire Nation and Earth Kingdom, allowing the oldest Fire Nation colonies to remain as independent entities. During
Cool.
this time, Aang also forms a new order of air acolytes, mostly from the official Avatar Aang fan club. Yes, that's a real thing. In
Official
102
Avatar
AG,
Aang
Zuko,
fan club.
Azula, and Team Avatar track down Ursa and restore her.
Wait.
Thing. In 102 AG, Zuko, Azula, and Team Avatar track down Ursa.
Wait,
and
Azula? I kept hearing that.
102 AG, Zuko, Azula, and Team Avatar.
Azula? Azula?
Avatar track down Ursa and restore her memories, reuniting
Nice.
her with the family. Ursa apologizes for leaving her children and returns to the Fire Nation capital, while Azula escapes their custody, forming a small rebel group known as the Fire Warriors. Yudao and the
What
other
y'all gonna
former
do?
Fire Nation colonies form a government with representation from the colonies, the Fire Nation, and the Earth Kingdom. The company, Earthen Fire Industries, is
Earthen
formed
Fire
between Fire
Industries.
Nation and Earth Kingdom businessmen who start
makes
mining
sense.
on the land where Tianheshi Village was once located. This angers the spirit General Old Iron, who threatens to attack. With the help of Avatar Aang, the spirit Tianhe reveals that she is still alive, taking the form of several cranes, and calls General Old Iron. In accordance with
General Old
Tianhe's
Iron.
wishes, a new village called Cranefish Town is established at the location. Katara and Sokka return to the South Pole, where Master Pakku has started a waterbending school. A group of nationalists then attempt to remove all foreigners from the South, but are defeated. Tensions begin
What
rising
kind of trickery
between
is
benders
this?
and non-benders in Cranefish Town, resulting in the formation of the Bending Supremacist Uprising. This is quickly put down by Avatar Aang. Over the
Looking
next decade,
thuggin' too, by the way.
between 102 and 115 AG, the government created by the former colonies grows. With Aang and Zuko's help, they form a real fifth nation called the United Republic of Nations.
Oh,
Grows.
wait.
The decade between 102 and 115
I remember
AG,
that group.
The government created by the former colonies grows. With Aang and Zuko's help, they form a real fifth nation called the United Republic of Nations.
United
with the
Republic of
government led by a
Nations.
council representing each of those nations.
Oh,
Cranefish
cool.
Town grows into its capital, the large industrial center
Cranefish
of Republic City,
Town.
and the Fire Nation donates a statue of Aang to the city as a gesture of goodwill. At some point, the Order of the White Lotus publicly reveals themselves to the world, intending to serve the Avatar. Not all within the Order agree.
I don't
this,
agree
with
to
some
that.
believing that the once great Order had been reduced to the Avatar's bodyguard.
Yeah.
These tensions caused a splinter faction known as the Red Lotus to form, who are more militant and extreme than the White, and are intent on reconnecting the human and spirit worlds by any means necessary.
Ooh.
The events of the film The
Ooh.
Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender will take place around this time, but
Oh.
we're not quite sure what that will entail quite yet. During
Oh.
this period, Aang and Katara marry and
Oh.
have two children.
I haven't
Bumi,
seen
a
that.
non-bender, and Kaya, a waterbender.
Aw.
In 119 AG,
There he
third
is.
child Tenzin is
Tenzin.
born. He's an airbender, meaning that Aang is no longer the last
Airbender.
Team Avatar becomes
Nice.
important
Yeah, I had to
figures
keep
in
trying.
Republic City, with Toph acting as its chief of police and Sokka as a core member of its government and chief of the Southern Water Tribe. In
Look how he looks as a
AD,
man.
Waterbending gangster Yacone is put on trial for his crime.
Yacone.
He reveals himself to be a powerful bloodbender who is able to use the ability without the full moon, but Aang defeats Yacone and
Takes
away
that
the
thing.
bending. Sometime after 131 AG,
Hamon,
Iroh's
whatever that
spirit
dude
leaves
is.
his mortal body and enters the
That's the
spirit world.
foreshadow,
This is
but
different
that was
than a
after shadow.
traditional death, as he now lives a normal life amongst the spirits in the spirit world.
That's
Unlike
exactly
death,
where he wants to
traditional
be.
spirit
I knew I
willingly
talked
leaves
over
his
it.
mortal body bending. Sometime after 131 AG, Iroh's spirit willingly leaves his mortal body and enters the spirit world. This is different than a traditional death, as he now lives a normal life amongst the spirits
Hold on, I just messed up there.
in the spirit world. Over the coming decades, technology continues to advance, and by 138 AG, automobiles known as Satomobiles are invented by Hiroshi Sato of Future Industries. At some point, the blended bending culture of Republic City developed a professional sport called pro bending.
I just figured out the volume was messed up, so it is what it is. My bad.
Incorporating elements of all three bending abilities. Around 144 AG, Yakon's son Noatak arrives in Republic City, eventually taking on the identity of Aang. Enraged that he had been born as a weapon to fight against those who had wronged Yakon, and despite being a powerful water and bloodbender himself, Amon starts the Equalist movement to rid the world of benders. He discovers a method of blocking a bender's chi, turning their ability to bend off forever. In 151 AG, heir to the Northern Water Tribe chieftain Tonraq defeats an invasion by barbarians, but destroys a spirit forest in the process. He is banished from the north and travels to the South Pole. His younger brother Unalaq, secretly a member of the Red Lotus who organized the invasion to gain power, becomes heir. In 153 AG, despite his body being relatively young, Avatar Aang dies due to his extended lifespan from being trapped in the ice. He is remembered as a hero by the world, but led a complicated family life, focusing much of his attention on Tenzin to pass on airbending culture. Still, the cycle continues as Avatar Korra is born to Tonraq and Senna of the Southern Water Tribe. Around 156 AG, the businessman Iknik first rises to prominence through corporate espionage and sabotage.
He's
By
terrible.
157 AG, Korra is identified as the Avatar at just 4 years old, able to perform water, earth, and firebending at an incredibly young age.
Crazy work.
Lotus begin Korra's Avatar training as Katara teaches her waterbending. In 158 AG, Chief Unalaq wishes to take Korra under his wing, secretly guiding her towards Red Lotus philosophies with the ultimate goal of releasing Vaatu from his prison during the next harmonic convergence.
God damn, I forgot this plot point. I definitely talked about it. I know it's gonna happen. This is how we lose the Avatar cycle, but the details are foggy on me. You're gonna see a whole lot of surprise on this one.
Wishes to take Korra under his wing, secretly guiding her towards Red Lotus philosophies with the ultimate goal of releasing Vaatu from his prison during the next harmonic.
Y'all really broke off from the Avatar, man.
When Tarlok declines, Unalaq orders fellow Red Lotus members, led by a man named Zahir, to kidnap Korra. They're thwarted by Sokka, Tenzin, Tonraq, and Zuko, and imprisoned in specialized dungeons. Unalaq's part in the plot remains a secret. During this same year, Hiroshi Sato's wife Yasuko is murdered by benders in the Agni Kai criminal triad. This radicalizes Hiroshi and pushes him towards the Equalist movement, building technology and weapons for the organization. In 167 AG, Fire Lord Zuko abdicates the throne and passes the title to his daughter, Fire Lord Azumi. Afterwards, he becomes a traveling ambassador for peace. In 170 AG, Korra completes her firebending training and goes to Republic City to begin her airbending training with Tenzin, though she's unable to access the ability. Here, she meets the brothers Mako and Bolin, a firebender and earthbender respectively, and joins their pro-bending team. Along with Asami Sato, daughter of Hiroshi Sato, they become her friends and companions. Led by Amon, the Equalists begin the anti-bending revolution in Republic City, with Amon taking away many people's bending ability, including the chief of police, Lin Beifong, daughter of Toph. Amon unsuccessfully tries to eradicate airbending by taking away Tenzin and his children's airbending abilities, but fails. Korra's bending is taken away by Amon, though she unlocks her airbending to defeat the Equalist leader. Amon is unmasked as Noatak, a waterbender, collapsing the anti-bending revolution. Noatak flees the city with his brother, the politician Tarlok, who ends both of their lives. Later, Avatar Aang's spirit restores Korra's bending and teaches her how to energy bend, allowing her to restore all of the bending taken away by Amon. In 171 AG, in the fallout of the Equalist uprising, the Republic City Council is dissolved in favor of a democratically elected government representing benders and non-benders alike. Shortly afterwards, the non-bender Raiko is elected as the first president of Republic City. Chief Unalaq convinces Korra to undergo spiritual training under his tutelage, but she discovers his role in the Red Lotus and how he framed Tarlok years ago.
That's why it's important for the minority to have council, so the minority also doesn't rebel if they have a seat in government.
The Water Tribe civil war begins, spreading all the way from the poles to Republic City. During the conflict, Korra temporarily loses her memories to a dark spirit, and with the help of Iroh, connects the very first Avatar Wan to regain them. After Unalaq threatens the life of Tenzin's daughter, Jinora, Korra opens the portals to the spirit world at the North and South Poles. Harmonic convergence occurs, and Unalaq frees the dark spirit Vaatu. The two merge and become the very first Dark Avatar, using their combined power to purge Rava Rava from Korra's spirit, severing her ties to all of the past avatars. Despite this, Korra is able to defeat and kill Unalaq, cleansing Vaatu's spirit. Korra starts a new avatar cycle as the barrier between the human and spirit worlds remains open. Korra also decides that the avatar should no longer be the bridge between humans and spirits, but instead just a peacekeeper. After thousands of years, the earthbending kings Hoondoon return to the human world, hoping to take revenge on the avatar. However, Korra defeats and then kills Hoondoon. After
all the avatars in which he had beef with, they're like cut off. They're gone, fam. It's a
harmonic convergence, several non-benders around the world are suddenly given the ability to airbend, including Aang's son Bumi and Toph's granddaughter.
Oh, that's cool. We got more. Oh, Aang's line. That's cool. I didn't know this.
Are suddenly given the ability to airbend, including Aang's son Bumi and Toph's granddaughter.
Am I missing a season? Because I don't remember this. I feel like I'm missing a season. I remember up until the Rava and whatever in Avatar cycle. Oh, that's crazy.
And then kills Hoondoon. After harmonic convergence, several non-benders around the world are suddenly given the ability to airbend, including Bumi and Toph's granddaughter Opal. Tenzin travels the world to recruit these new airbenders, hoping to teach them and restart the air nomad culture. However, Zahir is also given airbending, using it to escape his prison and liberate his fellow Red Lotus compatriots. They vow to kill the Avatar to bring spiritual balance to the world. After various spirits and vines from the spirit world enter Republic City, President Raiko
I just forgot. Because I definitely remember that part. Okay. Dang!
banishes Korra from the city, frustrated at the trouble that she's caused. Korra also discovers that she can metal bend, becoming the first avatar to do so. Zahir and the Red Lotus assassinate the pompous Earth Queen, throwing the Earth Kingdom and Ba Sing Se into chaos. They also attack Tenzin and the Airbenders at the Northern Air Temple, threatening to destroy them if Korra does not turn herself in. The Red Lotus then destroy the Northern Air Temple, though the Airbenders do survive. Bolin discovers that he has the very rare earthbending sub-ability of lava bending, only the second non-avatar to be able to do so. Zahir, follower of the teachings of Guru Lahima, gains the ability of unassisted flight after his lover is killed in battle. The Red Lotus attempt to force Korra into the avatar state by
she lost her head, didn't she?
Poisoning her with mercury so that they can kill her and end the cycle permanently. Into the avatar state by poisoning her with mercury, killed in battle. The Red Lotus attempt to force Korra into the avatar state by
I remember this, because if you die in the avatar state, it's over. And they trying to kill her.
They can kill her and end the cycle permanently.
Dang, that's
Korra's
crazy.
Team then attacks the Red Lotus, killing all of them but Zahir and saving Korra. Zahir is then subsequently imprisoned. A heavily wounded Korra is welcomed back to Republic City and witnesses Janora's ceremony to become an airbending master and get her tattoos. The airbenders return to their nomadic roots as Korra returns to the Southern Water Tribe to heal with Katara over the next few months. During this same period, as the Earth Kingdom falls into chaos, the metalbender Kuvira assembles an army to help keep the peace. In 172 AG, Korra leaves the Southern Water Tribe, shedding all identifiable clothing and markings, hoping to rediscover herself and reconnect with Rava. She spends 6 months wandering the Earth Kingdom, fighting random benders for sport, and being haunted by visions of her avatar spirit attacking her. Prince Wu is crowned the 54th Earth King, but Kuvira uses the coronation to dissolve the monarchy and reform it as the Earth Empire under her leadership. Using the strength she has built up over the last few years, Kuvira successfully annexes every Earth Kingdom province into the Earth Empire. Korra makes peace with an imprisoned Zahir, and with the help of an elderly Toph Beifong, extracts the rest of the mercury poison from her body.
She still had it in her body.
The military develops a spirit energy cannon which they attach to an enormous mecha suit. With this, Kuvira marches on Republic City, intending to reclaim Republic territory for the Earth Empire.
That's how I remember
Korra and her allies battle Kuvira in Republic City, where Hiroshi Sato sacrifices himself to save Asami and help defeat Kuvira. A new spirit portal opens in Republic City due to the battle, and a defeated Kuvira surrenders herself to Avatar Korra. The Earth Empire is then dissolved and the Earth Kingdom reformed, but despite this, Earth King Wu intends to abolish the monarchy in favor of a democratic system. Korra and Asami then publicly enter a relationship. Tensions rise between humans and spirits as much of Republic City has been damaged or overtaken due to recent conflicts. Additionally, several criminal gangs are displaced because of the spirit portal, creating problems for the entire city. President Raiko is more concerned about this than helping now homeless citizens, leading Varric's business partner and wife Julie Moon to run against him in an upcoming election.
Ooh.
Zhu Li is elected the second
does the
president
thing.
of the United Republic and diffuses tensions with the help of Avatar Korra. Kuvira is put on trial for her war crimes, but due to her help thwarting a plot to rig democratic elections in the Earth Kingdom, her sentence is commuted to house arrest. Now, police officers Mako and Bolin investigate a disappearance on the Fire Nation island of Pinquan. Alright, so with the announcement of the new animated series Avatar 7 Havens, we know a little bit about the future of this timeline, but not exact dates or events. So what I want to do to finish us out here is lay out exactly what we know about this new series, and using what we've learned about this timeline, let's predict the plot of this new show. So we know that Seven Havens is going to take place after Korra has died and a new earthbending avatar has been born. However, the world has suffered through a major cataclysm with both the humans and spirit worlds devastated. The remnants of humanity now survive, and these Seven Havens spread across the world, and believe that the avatar was responsible for the disaster. So instead of being a title of great honor, it's a mark that people hate. And knowing that, what can we put instead of being a title of world, and believe that the avatar was responsible for the disaster? So instead of being a title of great honor, it's a mark that people hate. And knowing that, what can we put together about the plot? Well, one of the big patterns I noticed while putting together this timeline was that an avatar often had to deal with the problems created by their predecessors.
Yeah.
So this new earthbending
like
avatar
every
will
president
have to contend with the mistakes that Korra made. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to nitpick everything Korra could have done that might have led to this apocalypse.
Let's do it.
That doesn't sound particularly fun, and the disaster might not have even been related to her. But I do have a really good idea of where this is going. See, this is going to be dealing with the fallout of how Korra dealt with Vaatu. It was always weird to me that the legend of Korra went in the direction of good versus evil with Vaatu and Rava, instead of the much more Eastern concept of like order and chaos.
Yeah.
Yin and yang. Push.
Order and chaos. Yes. Good and evil. Because order and chaos is so nuanced. Eastern tends to be like that. Western, we have to place a label on it and go to war.
And pull.
Terrorists.
To imply that one of those forces is morally good is kind of weird. And I always thought that introducing a dark avatar and then immediately getting rid of them was kind of a mistake. Well, Seven Havens has an opportunity to address all of that. See, what if the defeat of Vaatu threw the world out of balance, and that is what caused the disaster? The plot of this new show could be about resolving that. And how would they go about doing it? By reintroducing the Dark Avatar as a foil for the Avatar. Not as a villain or an evil spirit or anything like that, but just as their opposite. The Yang to their Yin. A Vegeta to their Goku, if you will. Like they could even have like a reverse Avatar cycle going on, so instead of going like fire, air, water, earth, it could be like earth, water, air, fire. That'd be fun. And I think we actually have a pretty good idea of who this reverse Avatar is going to be. See, one of the big things that really jumped out to me about the synopsis for Seven Havens is that the Avatar has a twin. One of the big things that really jumped out.
It's set in a world shattered by a devastating cataclysm. A young earthbender discovers she's a new avatar after Korra, but in this dangerous era, the title marks her as humanity's destroyer, not its savior. Hunted by both human and spirit enemies, she and her long-lost twin must uncover their mysterious origins and save the Seven Havens before civilization's last stronghold.
To me about the synopsis for Seven Havens is that the Avatar has a twin. That seems like it would be a great opportunity for some conflict, right? Especially if that twin was the Dark Avatar.
Agreed.
And I also wouldn't be surprised if the storyline of this new Avatar is going to be about connecting with all the past Avatar lives, like Aang and Roku, etc., etc. Hoping to find a way to like find that balance again through their wisdom. So yeah, that's how I see this all playing out. Will I be right or wrong? At this point, who knows? But I think we are onto something. But hey, in the meantime, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Once again, thank you to WB Games for sponsoring this theory and letting us take this big swing. Click the link below or scan the QR code on screen to download DC Worlds Collide today.
All right, now that you guys made it to the end, my feelings about Korra are so strong that, oh, I like this video. Oh, that's a long one. That if my feelings for Korra are so strong because the Avatar cycle is broken, whether or not that's her fault or not, that's not what I'm here for, as far as what I'm going to argue about. But if they can restore the Avatar line, I have no problems with her. As far as my feelings go, that part is so hurtful to me as a fan of the franchise that I have some strong feelings. I'm not going to rant about it. I'm not a toxic person, but I'm also an honest person. But if they can restore the connection, I'm good. Because that's it. She had a tough time. I think she had some of the strongest villains that any Avatar had to deal with. It don't look that way, But remember, she's going against villains that can now bloodbend without the moonlight, without the moon. She's going against people that can take away your powers. She's going against a race of people who or a group of people who specialize in suppressing benders. She didn't have access to her airbending power for a while, and y'all like, what's the big deal with that? I think the airbending is the most versatile ability for evasiveness. So without it, the earthbending does help though. It's not as great for Korra to be a defensive or evasive fighter. The earth does allow her to be evasive, but I feel like she's all offense, all aggression, all that. And you know, that was part of her learning balance and learning some things about herself to even use the airbending attributes. You know, air just wasn't natural to her. It's not really part of her personality. That girl's a firehead. She's a waterbender by birth, but I feel like she should have been born in the Fire Nation. But that don't really apply. It's not like because you're a firebender, you have a fiery personality or a hothead personality. I don't really think that applies. It just seems that way sometimes. Anyways, great video. Let me know if you guys like this video and want to see more videos like this continued. This was a longer one. I normally don't do such long ones, but I'm here for it if my fandom supports it. Your subscription, your comments are the biggest indicators I use to know that you guys are interested in this content. Until next video, peace. As always, thanks for supporting this channel. If you don't know, we do have a Patreon, and it's free to join. You can stay updated, suggest content, or vote on polls. If you're interested in our uncut and early reactions to anime, K-drama, Western shows, and movie reactions, which include exclusive reactions not found on YouTube, you can join the upper tiers on Patreon, or you can stick with the edited content right here on YouTube. We got your boy Rock Lee reactions also in the description of this video. Until next time, I'm out.